Hi and welcome to our annual video, holiday video, where we are telling you some of the best books we've read, some of the books we really loved, and to tell you that we have, again, this wonderful gift guide to help you with all your Christmas shopping or holiday shopping, whatever holiday you were shopping for. My name is Anton. I am the adult book buyer here at Politics and Prose.
And I'm Lissa Muscatine. I'm one of the co-owners of Politics and Prose, and I love, this is one of the high points of the year for me, is to get together with Anton, because I try to get a lot of my book recommendations from Anton throughout the year, because Anton is probably one of the best read, if not the best read person at Politics and Prose, blushing. And he and I have a lot of fun doing this, and we really enjoy bringing our favorites to all of you. So thank you, Anton, for doing this, for putting up with me again for this. Yeah.
Obviously, there are so many books in this guide, and we urge you to pick it up in the store. We can only talk about a handful, otherwise we would be here for like 6 hours or something. So I want to start with the book that I think is the best book of the year, and I am the absolute just proselytizer for Lily King. This is so wonderful. It's a story of friends who meet in college, and it sort of goes on to later part of their life, but what she does so well is sort of shows you how little choices you made earlier on can really just sort of have this cascade effect later. But the beautiful thing is just the writing is so good. You just keep writing and like, I understand what good writing is. And some people have cried, so just a warning there. It is an emotional book, but so worth it. I love her. And second one, a little bit seems darker, but actually also very funny, because he is Ocean Vuong, Emperor of Gladness. He is a poet, and he's such a wonderful writer, and just so beautiful, but he's also quite funny. Mm-hmm. And so this one is his second novel, and also just one of the best books this year. I recommend it highly. And what fiction?
Yeah, so I'm going to just mention a couple books that aren't necessarily in our favorite category, but are really great. And we always, you know this, Anton, we always get questions about, is there a book that's not dark? Is there a book that I won't cry over? Is there a book that will make me laugh? Just lighter fare. So I wanted to mention The Correspondent, which is a 2025 book by Virginia Evans. And it's epistolary. It's written in letters, and it's really charming. And through these letters, you kind of find out all these family secrets and family sagas, and it's really quite entertaining. The other thing, for people who live around Washington, it's set around Washington, so you'll remember a lot of those places. And what?
I have.
Oh yeah, you have another one. Yeah,
I have a couple more fiction. In that, this is also sort of, if you want a book that is, it does deal with a grandfather-granddaughter relationship, and grandfather's losing his eyesight, which seems quite dark, but it is such like a lovely, wonderful book about just like relationship you have with your grandparent, and how you bond with them. So I think like also, if you're looking for like a good family relationship story that is not going to be dark, or for somebody, and also if somebody loves art, this is also a great one, because they go to museum. So this is all takes place sort of through museum trips. So good combo there. So they definitely want to pick up.
Katie Kitamura, Audition.
It didn't win the Booker, but
no, it did not win the Booker. I don't happen to have a copy of it right in front of me, but that's okay. You'll find it easily in our store, because it's everywhere and it's gotten a lot of attention. But I will mention that as another favorite fiction of mine, that is not light, but fascinating and throws you for a loop. And it's also about family dynamics, family relationships, and the way three people in a family totally see a particular incident completely differently. It's kind of a masterpiece.
It is.
And it's short. It's not that long.
It is kind of a mind-bending.
Mind-bending, yeah. But easy to read. Yeah. I mean, easy language to read.
And you have nonfiction favorites.
I do.
Which I don't have.
I have two nonfiction.
I see the nonfiction time.
Let me start with what I think is going to. This could also be in our memoir category, but we're putting it in our definite top favorite books of the year. Mother Mary Comes to Me by Arundhati Roy. Arundhati Roy is a South Asian Indian activist. She's a writer, she's a novelist, she's been an actress. And this is a phenomenal story, sort of two stories at once. The story of her very fraught relationship with her mother, from whom she was estranged. And this mother was a tyrant within the family, on the one hand, but publicly was sort of this heroic figure who started a school in India and challenged the government in all sorts of important ways. And these two sides of this woman who happens to be her mother, who she clearly is still trying to reconcile her feelings about. And then also the story of India at that time. And you'll notice some very early references to Modi, who's now leading India, and you will understand why maybe there's some issues with that. But it's also written in this incredibly original style. It's just a crazy good book. I mean, crazy good.
Her God of Small Things is still one of my favorite books of all time. So
I forgot to mention her first novel was the Booker winner. Way back when, The God of Small Things. And so she's really something.
Yeah. And the one thing about that is we're doing a class on that book.
Oh, thank you for reminding me.
In the winter. So we just announced our full winter class lineup, and this is one of the books that will be covered in one of the classes. So check our website for that.
Okay, my other sort of super nonfiction book of the year is Injustice by Carol Leonnig and Aaron Davis, who were journalists in Washington. Carol has won 5 Pulitzers or something for her investigative reporting. If this doesn't win some major prizes, I'll be shocked. This is a granular look at what has happened to the Justice Department of the United States from Trump 1 through Biden to now. And they literally were writing this book up until the day it was published to make it as up to date. And you think you know about the Mar-a-Lago documents, and you think you know about January 6th. This is like a thriller. It reads like a thriller. The granularity is incredible. You feel like you're in the room. And it is crazy to relive all that stuff sort of from the inside looking out. It's an amazing book. It's an incredible feat of reporting. Cannot recommend it enough.
Well, speaking of thrillers that we're not living in.
Thank God.
We obviously always have an enormous fiction section in our holiday catalog because there's a lot of genres, people are shopping for different readers. So I have sort of 3 books that are more genre than literary. So the first one is Happy People Don't Live Here, Amber Sparks. She is a local author and I love her dearly. And this is sort of like a gothic Nancy Drew for adults, because it's a cozy horror is how I would describe it. It's actually quite
cozy horror.
Yes, it's very adorable, but at the same time there are ghosts in it, and they're just ghosts. They're just around. It's fine. They're ghosts. So definitely lovely, great book, even though I'd say it's horror. But Devils is Joe Abercrombie's newest fantasy novel. It's sort of the darker fantasy, and you have a fantasy reader, and if they've never read him, he is absolutely one of the best. He's very funny also, and very good writer, and a lot of things are happening, so definitely a good one. And then S.A. Cosby's King of Ashes. I think he's probably the best mystery writer writing right now.
Yeah,
because he is just excellent. All his novels, you just pick them up, and before you know it, it's 3 a.m. and you should probably go to bed, but you really need to know what's happening. He is the best of the best, so definitely cannot go wrong with him.
So Anton, we had a lot of memoirs and biographies this year, so many, and I found myself reading mostly memoirs and biographies. I felt I read much less fiction, much less other stuff, because there's so many good ones. So we have a whole bunch of them to recommend. We're going to do it really quickly because we have so much. I love this book, I Regret Almost Everything, by Keith McNally. He's the owner of Minetta Tavern in Washington, and very famous New York restaurants. And you might think, who cares? And why am I reading this book? But his story and the fact that he was suicidal and he's had to overcome incredible adversity, it's just beautifully told. It's intelligent, great book. Love it. This is a really interesting book. Again, has a family drama in it. Native American author Julian Brave Noisecat. It really is a look at indigenous culture in this country as told through his relationship with his estranged and then reconciled father. Another great book. Did you read this? Did you like it?
No, I did not read this.
Okay, Paper Girl, Beth Macy, the antidote to, what's the name of our vice president? Oh, J.D. Vance. Sorry. No, this is the antidote told from a woman's perspective from the same background, basically.
Absolutely, yeah.
Water Bears, fascinating book, sort of the history of a family, the matrilineal lineage of a black family, which kind of tells you the whole history of black women in this country. Incredible. Another incredible memoir, Heart of a Stranger. Angela Bookdahl is a Korean American. She had a Jewish father who married a Korean Buddhist mother, but she got fascinated with Judaism. She became a rabbi. She's now a rabbi at one of the major synagogues in New York. And she's kind of a celebrity rabbi, but she's a really super smart, thoughtful, incredible book about identity and faith. And did you? Oh, you can do it.
I've read her first one, but I have not read this.
Next of kin, Gabrielle Hamilton is wrote a previous memoir that was a lot about, sort of very revealing about a lot of adversity she had, and this is about her family. And it's she's a chef and she's in that world, but this is much more about her sort of family saga. There you go.
That's a lot of memoirs. Well, there are some good biographies also. So if you more about reading people writing about other people, there are some excellent ones this year. Number one, I think, is Tony at Random by Dana Williams. Obviously, everyone knows Toni Morrison is probably the best writer
of the 20th century.
Yeah. However, she was also an editor. And so this looks at her editorial life and how she edited so many people and even sort of tried to convince Muhammad Ali to finally finish the draft of his memoir. So definitely a great look at sort of lesser known part of her life.
She really put black writers and black voices into the mainstream publishing world and became one of the greatest editors.
Right.
And also was edited by one of the greatest editors, Bob Gottlieb.
And then the second book we have is Positive Obsession. This is the life of Octavia Butler. She famously was very not forthcoming with documents or interviews. So this is not a big book because she was a quite private person. But it's still very well done. It's probably the only biography of Octavia Butler you can find now. And we also have Margaret Atwood, which actually not a biography, it's back to the memoirs. Margaret Atwood and I share university background, so I'm Canadian, so I sort of have to contend with Margaret Atwood at all times. And this is her memoir, which is quite large.
600 pages.
600 pages, but she's an amazing writer, so absolutely worth picking it up. All right, moving on. Sports.
Yay, sports. We can never have enough sports. At the holiday season.
Every day somebody needs a sports book. This is the gift. This is time to shine for sports books.
You go.
Well, something completely different from the usual. If every year someone comes up to you and goes, "Do you have anything on lacrosse?" and every year you say, "No, I don't have anything," like, well, the end is over. The American game, S.L. Price. This is the biography of lacrosse, and through lacrosse, sort of the history of the Americas, because this was a Native American sport, and so it's definitely through its development. It's also the history of Canada or U.S. and it's just amazing, and probably the only definitive book on lacrosse. So get it for whoever plays lacrosse.
Plus a lot of lacrosse around here.
So that's absolutely. So this is it.
Okay, so got to talk about Christine Brennan's On Her Game. Chris Brennan is a amazing woman sports writer. One of the early women to pioneer as a sports writer. This is the story of Caitlin Clark. It's called Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports. And she really puts this in context. That's what she specializes as a reporter. She always is able to take a current thing that's happening in sports and contextualize it. And it really is about how Caitlin Clark, and she traveled with her for the whole year or much of a season. Incredible book. We love Chris Brennan. Thank you, Chris, for writing this. We also love Jane Levy. She's another local pioneering woman sports reporter here in Washington, but it's written some of the best baseball biographies that have been written. And now she's written Make Me Commissioner. And it's really a look at everything that's wrong with baseball currently, but also what's right with it, and sort of recommends fix, but also is really trying to get people to remember why this is such a cultural culturally important sport in this country, and can we recapture that?
Also
So
the
great book.
American game. What's on the back of that? Wait. Oh my God, there's
Yeah,
a dog.
there's a dog.
There's a dog.
Anybody
There you
like
go.
dog?
There you go.
Yeah. Betty the dog, infielder, Orleans Firebirds. Okay, there
Amazing. I mean, I'm okay with making Jane Levy commissioner.
you go. Yeah, we would like Jane Levy to be commissioner, just for the record.
Another great stack of gift books if you have art, music, sort of nerds.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about the first one, Suddenly Topical, Adventures in the Louvre.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cielina. This is a great book about just going to the Louvre and experiencing all its treasures. And it's basically, you have someone who loves art, you love someone who loves Paris, you love someone who loves sort of art, travel, combined writing. I mean, she's the person to pick up.
She's a
her books.
reporter
Yeah.
who's based in Paris for many, many years, I think, for the New York Times principally.
Yeah, I don't think she even needs much sort of introduction from us, but definitely probably the perfect gift for pretty much so many people on your list, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Right.
I'm really happy to be able to recommend this book. This is a book that is really about the history of photography in sort of its innovations and technologies, written by a writer and photographer. It's kind of a photography nerd book, but it's got tons of history and context, wonderful, examples of photography. So many people take pictures now. And so I think this book, for anybody who's interested in photography or does photography, awesome gift book. It's called Flashes of Brilliance by Annika Burgess.
And
Oh, yeah.
also
This is a
intriguing.
great book. Todd Purdom was a longtime national correspondent for the New York Times, now at Vanity Fair, lives out in LA, and has been covering Hollywood and the arts industry a lot more. And this is the story of Desi Arnaz, who most people of a certain age know as the sort of sidekick husband of Lucille Ball on I Love Lucy. Well, Lucy and Desi Arnaz were actually married in real life and became these powerhouse producers in Hollywood. And Desi Arnaz actually changed the way that sitcoms were done and reruns were done. And he was a titan. Also very sad life. He was an addict. He was a womanizer. He had all sorts of problems. But this is the really thorough and beautifully written. Todd's a great writer. Great book about that period in Hollywood and how it changed American culture.
And last here but not least, Bread of Angels, Patti Smith. Yet another book from Patti Smith. And the thing to mention here is that we are having an event with Patti Smith on December 19th at the Lincoln Theater. So if you want to get a ticket, please go to our website. It's a ticketed event because it's not in the store. Let's, we have a couple more sections sort of to give you a little bit of guidance on gifts. Nature. We have many more nature books in the guide, but Robert McFarlane, one of my favorite nature writers, is a river alive? The answer is obviously yes, but this is such a wonderful book about both how we think of rivers, how we think of nature, and it's just, his writing is so incredible. So if you want just beautiful writing about anything, really, Robert McFarlane.
I just have to put in a plug for my son, Max, who's an environmental writer, who Robert McFarlane is basically his hero.
Oh,
he loves him. I mean, that's not, there are a lot of others, but
he's amazing. He's if you've never read him, there's no wrong place to start, but this is the one from this year.
And he teaches at Cambridge in England.
Yeah.
Yep. He's on the faculty. Okay, one more nature book, The Genius of Trees, How They Mastered the Elements and Shaped the World by Harriet Ricks. That pretty much sums it up. If you want to really understand, as she says, how trees sculpt the environment around them and shape culture and everything else, it's a really lovely book. And I think a lot of people love trees and want to know more about trees. This is the book for them.
I feel like we can never have enough tree books.
Never enough tree books.
And now for your, I was going to say dad part, but it's history. It's a history part.
History, current events. Yeah.
Every year, people want to get sort of, I have somebody in the family who's read all the history books, and he only reads the history books, or she, or they. And here are some couple of good ones. First of all, Gales of November. Look, if you did not grow up in the Midwest, this is still a great book to read. If you didn't know, this year is 50th anniversary of the wreck of Edmund Fitzgerald, and so this is tied. Publication was tied to the anniversary, but it's an excellent book because John Bacon, what he does is not only he covers sort of the actual tragedy that occurred, and if you didn't know, but he sort of traces the families of people who were on Edmund Fitzgerald and their context, their families, their places they lived and worked, and sort of their descendants. So it's a very sort of social history also of the crew.
Perfect gift for a history nerd buff.
Yeah, absolutely. So excellent work. And Tim Weiner, this is the follow-up to his previous book, Legacy of Ashes, which is now about 20 years old, actually. So it covers the CIA post 9/11. And if you've never read him, he is an incredible investigative writer, and he does not pull any punches. If he thinks something's wrong, he'll tell you.
Yeah, that's good.
He is very much. It's very much sort of critical eye on CIA. So great gift for anyone who sort of loves international studies or history or
current events.
Current events. I mean, it's all tied together in this book. Well, this is a time of gifts. And so we definitely have a very large selection of art books, photography books,
cookbooks.
We haven't even touched cookbooks. There are so many cookbooks, and there's some amazing gems in there. This is a giant photography of photography and the Black Arts Movement, sort of a history, but photographic history. Definitely sort of a must-have for anyone either interested in the history of photography or history of this country, and particularly that period. Just wonderfully done. So that's an excellent gift for anyone. And E is for Edward, which is a celebration of Edward Gorey. It would have been his 100th birthday.
Oh, God.
So, yeah.
Sense.
And he's wonderful. And this is, once again, just a beautiful, beautiful book. And if you know anyone obsessed with Edward Gorey, like I am, this is definitely...
There is nobody like Edward Gorey.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And this is sort of my favorite book of the year. This is like a play book for adults. If you have a design, art, font, typeface obsessed person, this is it, because it moves. Everything in this book just moves. It pops up, you can play around with it. It's all about design of the letters. There's a video you can watch that's on the cover, and it's just so cool. It is a little bit more expensive, but it is so worth it if you have somebody who would absolutely lose it over this. And we do have a display copy in the store that you can come and play with, so you don't have to sort of buy it blind, but it is the most fun book, I think.
Okay, so truth in advertising. Anton is the adult book buyer. I have children who are now adults, and so we are not as good at the curation factor of children's books, but fortunately, our children and teens department, they are amazing. You can go in and say, I have a kid who's 9 years, 6 months, 3 weeks, 10 hours, and 2 minutes old, and they'll say, oh, I've got just the book for you. And they have done a wonderful list in our catalog, and we've got some of the titles here that Anton is going to tell you a little bit about. But just rely on the catalog for children's books. They're so good.
They also have their own lists, so absolutely, if you need any help there, they are so good. Elementary fiction, like for Pocket Bear. I am the adult book buyer, but this is so good. This is so adorable. She was at National Book Festival, so I know of her, but she is definitely such a good writer. They have graphic novels, but for younger kids, so they're always so great. And then I would say young teen and older teen, they always have good selections. They have always excellent, just a little bit fantasy books. Or Rex Ogle, he's really great. He's a great sort of teen, young adult writer, and definitely worth reading. And then we have Idris Goodwin, king of the Neuroverse. So, and then we have picture books and poetry books. So these are very words with wings and magic things. And then we have Wanda Hears the Stars. I Am We, How Crows Come Together to Survive, and Polar Bear and the Ballerina. So it seems like hitting at least two interests here, ballet and polar bear. So wonderful. I cannot speak a lot about these books, mostly, but absolutely go to the children's and teens department and they will be so happy to tell you about any of these or more.
Anything they select, they have such incredibly high standards for children's literature.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Children's illustrations.
Yeah.
They are, I swear to God, they're the best anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And you will, any of these books are going to be great.
Absolutely. So. Well, books are great, but what if you're buying for someone who has so many books that you cannot pick, or they don't want a book? You know, some people just don't
want a book and something else. That's not a book. Yeah.
So luckily for everyone, we have so many non-book items, and this is just like a very, very limited selection. We have book journals, obviously, some very, very adorable ones. They're
really
embroidered. Cute. This is lovely, and then these things are fun. Book Nook, they are, I just call them book middles, not like bookends, but put them in your bookshelf. I do not have space for this, but they are so lovely, and you make them yourself, and they have sort of usually book-related
illustration,
or like they're actually like 3D, so you have to sort of craft them, and they have either like a bookstore or like a train station or something very adorable. So really
those are great ideas. Also, Anton, we should remind people we have an incredible array of calendars, holiday cards. Our colleague Ron, who's been here forever and does all this, would be very upset with us if we didn't mention that.
Calendars.
But people come here for those things, so please be aware of that.
Please jump
and then
on those.
We have like sort of things that are new this year. These are vases. They come in different sizes. They have the cover of classics on them. They're really cute. They're nice. And by the way, if you don't have enough books on your bookshelf, you could even potentially use this, I guess, sort of on a bookshelf. We have a lot of P&P merch, T-shirts, caps, fabulous socks, not necessarily P&P socks, and of course, classic P&P mug. Speaking of which, I hope everybody knows about how amazing our coffee house, The Den, has become. It's just taken off. The new menu, phenomenal. Great activities, great programs. There's almost something going on down there every day. And we are getting Den merch. So keep your eye out for Den specific merch. So that's awesome.
Definitely follow us on social media, because
I think for all those people who sit there all day long working on their novel, they would really need some Den merch, don't you think?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. Once again, this is a delight to talk to you about what books we loved and to recommend some books. But here's some sort of logistics notes. First of all, our member sale, December member sale, which is our biggest one, is December 5th, 6th, and 7th. So it's the first weekend of December, and that is 20% off in-stock items for members. And if you are especially shipping something, if you order by December 8th, that would be ideal. December 8th is really
kind of the cutoff to be sure you're going to get it by Christmas.
But if you miss the deadline, don't worry. We have gift cards, we have memberships, and you can give membership as a gift. We also have subscription boxes. We have signed first editions that you get a signed first edition, first printing every month of a book, and then we have book a month programs, both for adults and for children, and those are very, very personalized. Just tell us what authors you or your friend or family liked, what topics, what books you would like, and every month we will try to get as personal as we can get to your tastes, and it is an amazing gift. And you can specify paperbacks, hardcovers. It's up to you.
Let me say a word about classes. We have the most robust class programs, and it's not just classes. We get incredible instructors. We have lively patrons who take these classes. They can be in the store. Some of them are remote. They're on every topic under the sun. We have had hundreds of these. They're immensely popular. We also do trips overseas and domestic, and we also do walks and field trips and all sorts of fun stuff. Check out our classes programming. And as Anton had said earlier, Arundhati Roy, who wrote Mother Mary Comes to Me, there will be a class about that book.
Well, thank you. This has been fun as always. Every year, it is incredible fun. I'm so happy again but absolutely come by the store. I'm usually here every day. I'm happy to recommend books. Booksellers are happy to recommend you books.
They love it. That's what they live for.
Do that. Yeah.
Right.
So please come by. Please come to our member sale. Look at our website, and happy holidays.
Yeah, and I just want to echo, I love doing this with Anton. I now have my book list for books I haven't read that Anton has recommended, so I've got my nightstand filling up already. Thank you, Anton, as always. And I also just want to say that, we really hope you will come in and find a spirit of community and compassion and belonging and a sanctuary here at P&P. These are very difficult times for many in our community, for our whole country, and we greatly pride ourselves in providing a space where people can find wonder and joy and excitement and learn things and talk to other people and just have a lovely exchange of ideas and thoughts and share their love of literature. So that's what we hope you will experience when you come in the very, very busy and very, very fun holiday season. So we hope we'll see you in the store. Thank you, guys.